Okay, so have you ever really stopped to think about how all the different apps on your phone and on the web actually talk to each other? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer. We're talking about how modern applications communicate using something called a REST API and how an amazing tool called Spring Boot makes building them surprisingly simple. All right, let's dive in.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. You pop open a food delivery app, and instantly it knows which restaurants are open, what's on the menu, everything, all in real time. It feels like magic, but it's not. It's actually a really well-orchestrated conversation happening completely behind the scenes. So how does that work?
And there it is, the core of the whole thing, REST APIs. They're like the invisible messengers, the digital glue that lets totally different applications, built by different people in different places, all talk to each other seamlessly. Honestly, it's the standard that makes the modern internet possible.
So let's kick things off with our first section, connecting the modern web. We're going to explore how this invisible communication is really the backbone of pretty much every app we use day in and day out.
Okay, next up, let's look at the anatomy of a request. And to make this all make sense, we're going to use a super simple but really powerful analogy. Just ordering food at a restaurant.
First piece of the puzzle, the client. In our restaurant, the client is you, the customer. In the tech world, the client is your web browser or that food delivery app on your phone. It's the thing that starts the whole process because it needs something. It's hungry for information.
Then you've got the API endpoint. This is our waiter. Now, you can think of the whole API as the menu. It shows you everything that's possible. The endpoint is the specific person you talk to, the waiter, who acts as that trusted go-between. You give your request to them, and they handle taking it to the kitchen.
And where's the waiter going with your order? To the server, of course, which in our analogy is the kitchen. This is the powerhouse, where all the real work happens. The kitchen has all the ingredients, that's the data, and it's where your order gets received, processed, and cooked up.
So let's put it all together. You, the customer, the client, tell the waiter, our API endpoint, what you want. The waiter takes that order straight to the kitchen, the server. The kitchen prepares your meal, which is the response, and finally, the waiter brings that perfectly cooked meal right back to your table. Simple, right? That is exactly how an API request works.
So we know the client and server are talking, but for any of this to actually work, they have to be speaking the same language. Let's figure out what that language is.
Think about it. If the kitchen just sent out a random pile of ingredients on a plate, you'd have no idea what to do with it. The meal needs to be presented in a way that's structured and easy to understand.
And that's where something called JSON comes in. Just think of JSON as the perfectly plated meal. It stands for JavaScript Object Notation, but don't worry about that. All you really need to know is that it's a super simple, text-based way to organize data with clear labels. It's the universal language of APIs, and it makes the data super easy for any app to read and use right away.
All right, time for our API Action Toolkit. It turns out you can place all different kinds of orders with an API. It's not just about asking for information. Let's break down the 4 main types.
Let's just walk through these real quick. A GET request is the most common one. You're just asking to see the menu or get some data. With a POST request, you're placing a brand new order. You're adding new data to the system. Now, if you need to change that order, say from fries to a salad, that's a PUT request. You're updating something that's already there. And finally, delete is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're telling the waiter to cancel the order and take it off the bill.
And don't underestimate these 4 things. Get, post, put, and delete. They are the fundamental building blocks for pretty much everything you do online. From posting a photo, to updating your profile, to deleting a comment, it's all right there. All right, so we get the what and the why, but how do developers actually build these things? Well, that brings us to our final section, building APIs made simple. As you can probably guess, wiring all of this up from scratch, making sure the waiter knows how to talk to the kitchen and handle all these different kinds of orders, yeah, that can get really complicated really fast.
And this is where a tool like Spring Boot becomes an absolute game changer. Think of it as a prefabricated 5-star kitchen. It handles all the complex plumbing and wiring for you. The ovens, the counters, the workflows, they're all there, right out of the box. This lets developers focus on what actually matters, creating the menu, not building the whole kitchen from scratch.
So now that you know the language that connects the entire web, it really just leaves one question. With tools like Spring Boot making it easier than ever to build these bridges between applications, what will you connect next?